I was born at Merida Hospital and raised on the far north side of Madison. North side of Madison is known for manufacturing, warehousing, trucking, outdoors, and up north gear. Warner Park, Token Creek Park, Cherokee Marsh, the airport, Dane County Job Center, Mendota Health, Madison College, and what used to be the Rollerdrome and Oscar Mayer. Generally speaking, the north side is anything north of Commercial Avenue and East Wash. It's large, spread out, a lot of communal and blue collar spaces. I'm from the northeast side of Madison. Sometimes I'll say Token Creek or Burke because those are known as the more rural outlying areas, Madison on the north and east sides. They're unincorporated communities though, so it's like saying what neighborhood I'm from. My address was Madison, phone number Sun Prairie, and school district DeForest. The school thing, for some reason, has caused a mass of people to attack my name and call me a liar, saying I'm not from Madison and I'm another suburban white boy pretending to be black from the city, streets, hood, or whatever else. I've been harassed enough to warrant me making this video. Um, so I can refer people here in the future and stop repeating myself. This is definitely going to seem small town as fuck to some of you, and that's why I have it scripted out so we can get through this and move on, hopefully. I honestly believe that this is going to help more than the mobs of the Hicks, the suburbanites, and the city idiots that have stood proudly at the head of this charge against me for decades. I want to be clear to those who are generally interested in finding out more about me too, and for posterity, for future onlookers that have difficulty thinking critically. Apparently, this mixing of communities doesn't happen everywhere, where a kid will live in one town and go to school in another, but it does commonly enough where I'm from, where you'd have to assume an extra level of loner persona to not cross paths with somebody who goes to school in a different town than where they live. I met kids going to Sun Prairie, East, DeForest, and La Follette, all living in my school district. This where'd you go to high school culture is prominent in America, though. Who's the cool kid sort of obsession with high school. I understand it gives you a sense of where somebody's from, but please remember, morons, somebody's high school history or school history is not the same as their life history. I went to DeFo, and I'm a Norski, but geographically, legally, demographically, according to the United States and Wisconsin governments, I am a Madisonian. I am from Madtown according to where I was born and raised, which is how that information is typically determined. So they come for me because they're uninformed about my side of town, but also the north side of Madison is often disrespected by stereotypical residents from the east, south, and especially downtown and west side areas. They go, Madison doesn't really have a north side, or that's not really Madison. That's standard privileged culture speak if you can't tell, careless ignorance. I'm sure there's a similar rhetoric in other northern cities. Regionally, the north side is often troubled or forgotten. The same is true for Madison. Chicago is the exceptional case in this area in that sense. Most of these aloof, ignorant, insecure, petty people command that I come from DeForest, which is a small town 15 minutes north of Madison. Groups come up to me and press me about this. And then they bring it and swirl it around the Facebook culture too. They've gone insane over it. They have this rabid obsession that I need to be from DeForest. I don't care that much. Straight up. Neither Madison nor DeForest have been decent with me. I don't care about geographic origin data points that much. I just don't care as much as these other people do about this. I'm just telling you the truth and always have. I've lived and worked with folks from a vast diversity of backgrounds. If you're from DeForest or the more privileged parts of Madison, okay, I'm simply not. And I'm not this character, this fake story that you've made up for me. I'm not that one guy you knew or whatever. You're basic. And no, I'm not dissing all people from any of these places. I'm scrutinizing my situation. Stop trying to turn me into a terrorist or a goofy loon because you're stupid and lazy. Why is it like that? Meaning all the city gerrymandering? The large spaces I mentioned earlier definitely play a factor. It's the most undeveloped side of Madison, but Madison is growing quickly. And now these different bureaucrats, want to stake their claim. Look at this division between Madison and Sun Prairie, my old neighborhood. Shit like that. The governments of these places I've been speaking to have been engaging in this territorial battle on and around the north side since I was born, at least. This is a common topic of conversation among folks from this area, especially those present in the community, active, wondering what they're up to, right? They being the bureaucrats of the government, city people. This is gerrymandering of municipality lines for clout and taxes. It's a battle for the north between Madison, Sun Prairie, DeForest, and Windsor. Look at how DeForest wraps around Windsor to border Madison. And then look at the water tower in Token Creek. It was famous, the hot air balloon water tower in Token Creek, locally famous. But DeForest just painted over it with its name as a power move. Locals often use Token Creek and Burke, like I do, to describe where they're from in this in-between land on the north and northeast side. I call it the in-between land because it's unsure. I don't call it the outskirts. We are from Madison. It's just an uncertain area. Of course, I've had plenty of conversations about this with, people from my area, and we always laugh, like, where are we from? Like, we don't even know. So, we'll say Token Creek or Burke, just, so we can end the conversation, so we can stop being interrogated about it. An old buddy of mine would put random city and country names on his mail to see if it would show up. I remember he showed me the Egypt one. Side note, Waunakee and Westport are considered more west side suburbs because they're separated from the rest of the north side by Cherokee Marsh and some farms. And they're also interconnected with Middleton through a series of gated communities and mansions. And obviously there's a lot of people that engage in this pretending to be from somewhere that they're not, going all the way in with it and developing a whole alternate personality with their privilege. It's not me, it's not where I'm from. I don't live in one of these alternate realities or multiverses. So these people are trying to force me into one of their alternate realities so that I fit into this, schema that they have or this view of life, but it just is not true. Remember when Barack Obama was relentlessly harassed for his birth certificate and address paperwork? It's those types, the city boys and girls, and the hip hop people, and the suburbanites, all coming for me, on my campaign from both sides of the highway. It doesn't matter. Clearly, the silly humans that have time to waste on these Malibu's Most Wanted fantasies, the NPCs, the units, the bots, lost in one of their delusional privilege games, are hyper concentrated on maintaining racist divisions in the world. They have this old dead belief that the city, Madison in this case, is the tough or the real side, the black hip hop side, the struggling working class side, you're allowed to speak side. And then the suburb, which is DeForest in this case, even though it's really more of a small town, is all white, elite white collar workers and rural farm workers that shut up and get the boring work done. Of course, most Americans are not educated enough to know about the damaging effects of their racism and how much they contribute to segregation, inequality, hate crime, white flight, and gentrification living in this thought process, but it's the accepted norm. I know I'm an exceptional case, but I also believe that my case shows how bad this "you're not really from this place because of this" bullying can get, and how spreading misinformation builds into these alternate storylines that turn into much more than talk of my hometown. Some of them would be hilarious if they weren't damaging to my personal and professional life, these fantasies that people have come up with about me. I try to be a good sport about this whole ordeal. I really thought this strange group of stans would disappear with their left field attacks over time, but that's just not been the case, and they've been clearly framing this story around me for years, some group or someone. We lived in a 2-bedroom, 2-level house in my old neighborhood on a half acre. We had a garden, trees, flowers, and eventually a jungle gym and basketball hoop. There was a park across the street, but otherwise our little neighborhood was surrounded by cornfields. The north side is the countryside of town for sure. We didn't have paved streets in our neighborhood for a few years. I don't remember for exactly how long, but no paved streets in the city of Madison, Wisconsin. That one piece of information, as you might expect, makes a lot of people squirm and frown and lash out at me when I'm explaining this story to them, but it's true. And really, what is this obsession with paved streets and sewage? It's really weird. Dane County Police came around every Wednesday. We didn't have access to public transportation, and we were told to stay in the neighborhood. I was compartmentalized in a community that didn't exist to the masses, but I made the best of it for show. I found a basement made with this first house in mind. The creativity and safety that I found in the basement of this house inspired the concept, along with the continued basement culture trend in my life, like the basement bedrooms, studios, and hangout spots and parties. We were at our place off Ratman Road until I was 11-ish, and that is what I referred to as the first house in Madison. In this section of Madison, you could cross a road and be in a different town, like, north, south, east, and west, essentially. Then we moved a tad further north into a bigger house with a bigger lot. Coming up in the world, it's a good thing, right, people? And technically crossing into DeForest or Windsor, depending on which map you're looking at, where I lived until graduating high school. There's been a lot of confusion as to where I'm from, even amongst family. I had to remind my older brother and mom a few years ago that we even lived in this first house. It might have been good most of the time, depending on what's being hidden from me. But I have a lot of great memories. I used to run across the neighborhood every day to meet up with my best friend Cody Smith, and I'd bring my brothers with, or he'd come over to our place, and then come inside at dark. That's how it was. I do have some horrifying memories too, and I'm not sure how in depth I'm going to be getting about that, but I absolutely want to do an episode on the memories of the old neighborhood, at least one. Former Republican Governor Lee Sherman Dreyfus said Madison is 30 square miles surrounded by reality. Then Mayor Soglin said 77. So they must have been referencing the in-between land as a surrounding reality, because both sides of this mad city bubble seem to be living in a fictional dimension when it comes to elementary facts. Thanks, y'all. Now go ahead and thumbs up the video and hit that subscribe button. More bars on the way.